Hello, this is Yarn Hellions, episode 37, season 3. I am Sarah Flynn, knitting enthusiast. This is Ripley. I asked to bring her special today. And this is Christine Parker of Christine Parker Co. And we're so excited to be with you today. We are going to chat about all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. We have, we're going to do our theme today is going to be our favorite fantasy books. So we have a bunch of recommendations for you. Sarah has way more than I do.
And I'm not going to all in depth, but I couldn't stop myself.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot going on for this episode.
There is.
So you want to dive into it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think we should talk about first? The Great Lakes?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay. So Great Lakes Fiber Show is coming up in Wooster, Ohio. It's the weekend of Memorial Day. And we are going on Saturday, May 27th. We're going to have a meetup, a Yarn Hellions meetup. We're going to go and bring our chairs and our water and our knitting, and we're going to hang out. And if you come find us, we will have stickers for you. So come, and if you're going to the Fiber Show, come find us. Mm-hmm. Mention the podcast, and we'll give you a sticker. And then if you are doing the one skein make along, make sure you wear your finished project. That's just for funsies. Who even knows what the weather's
I was just going to say, it can be 40 or it can be 90. So
yeah,
be prepared.
So we'll see.
And bring a hat or sunscreen. Because there's not much shade unless you're in the buildings shopping.
Yeah, there really isn't. I have a 10 by 10 pop-up shade tent I could bring. Ooh. So that might... I don't know if we'd even be allowed. Yeah.
But we could bring it. I've got room.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Saturday, May 27th at the Wooster County Fairgrounds in Wooster, Ohio. Great Lakes Fiber Show.
I'm kind of excited to just go and shop and not have to work.
Yeah.
I would be driving down Friday, setting up, driving back, driving down. Oh my gosh. Such a long day.
That's a lot of driving.
Ooh. And that was the closest show.
Yeah. I did my budgeting yesterday, and I budgeted some yarn budget for me, and then for the Great Lakes Fiber Show. And then this morning, I accidentally spent it on an Advent. The Spun Right Round Advent the theme is vintage Christmas. Oh. So, and she's got like all these little, like, they do like a mood board on Pinterest or whatever. And it's like all these like, it's in the Discord server. But I was like, well, like if like any other theme, I could probably like, talk myself out of it. But like
vintage Christmas,
like... I had to, yeah. So there went my Great Lakes budget. I'll have to, I think there's one more payday between now and then. So I'll set some money aside. But yeah, I'm excited. I love the Wooster
It's
show.
Really nice.
So in last 3 weeks ago, the last episode, like 2 hours before we started recording, my grandma died. So that was sad. And my husband's like, why did you record that episode? Like, why did you should have canceled? And I was like, well, but like, it was nice to have, a distraction. And then like, like I, when my mom told me, like I cried, and then, I don't know, grandma was 94. Like, it's not like, it's not like it was a big surprise. Not that makes it easier,
no,
but
it's tough.
But anyway, so, her funeral was 2 weeks ago, and last week, so they're starting to, my aunt, I have like 15 aunts, not really, there's 6 of them, but it feels like there's 15. And all my cousins they're starting to clean out her house, and like go through her stuff. So, my cousin's like, hey, grandma had crochet stuff for you. Cause I'm the only grandkid who crochets. So, that was like a thing we always bonded over. And she used to make like, when we were kids, she would make like she would make scarves for everybody. And once everybody started, having babies, are you marking? Are you not peeing marking, but she was like, the dog's like rubbing her face on the carpet.
I think she has some sort of allergies. I was like, marking. Oh, sorry. Well, let me bring my dog over.
So she, when everybody started having babies, she started to make these baby sweaters for all the great grandbabies. And I knew she wanted me to have her stuff. So I have all these, my aunt gave me all these like antique pattern books.
Layette.
I know.
You don't use that word anymore.
Yeah, not really, huh? This one's from 94, so I guess it's not really antique. But they're like all these pattern books. And actually, she had given me a bunch of crochet patterns last year or the year before, and we shared them on one of the episodes. I don't know which episode it is, but yeah, I'll put it in the show notes, and you guys can go and watch it. So there's,
So there's a year of baby Afghans. Oh, 12 designs. I'm like, are you doing a square, a month? How does this work? Oh.
So this one is the coolest one, I think.
Okay, let's see.
Because,
Baby Scandal with Care.
yeah, so this baby pattern book is from 1952,
Aww.
and it's in pieces.
It has like the little,
Yeah.
it's got cupie hair.
Yeah. So this would have been, she probably bought this like when she was pregnant with my mom, because my mom was born in 53. So, and it's like clearly very well loved. Was in, I don't want to lose her sticky note with her handwriting.
Love that she kept it in a little binder.
Well, because each page is
like
it's in its
separate.
own sleeve. Yeah, because it's all falling apart. She had the most beautiful handwriting.
It is.
Even, like, you know, into her 90s. Like, her handwriting never changed. It was just lovely. I don't know if... Yeah. But, like, I was going through this morning and looking at the, like, patterns. Like, this weird amigurumi kitty cat in mustard yellow yarn. Like... And there's, oh, that's the pussycat pattern. You don't usually use that word anymore. And my aunt is like, well, it looks like she started a couple of sweaters for the grandkids that haven't had kids yet, you know, just to have them on hand.
Aww.
So that, because she was 94, she knew she was gonna die soon, right? So, and my aunt's like, but they're not finished. Do you think you could finish them? And I was like, well, maybe. I mean, if I could find the pattern, I don't see why not, but I don't know what pattern she was using. She's got like the yarn she used and her gauge and her hook, whatever, but not the pattern. Ooh, look at this blanket.
Ooh.
There's
with the ribbon running through that?
Yeah, there's like a blanket in the background with like these like puff flower things. I'm gonna have to go through this. Look at this dog.
I know. She's like parkour.
So yeah. So I don't know. It was special to like inherit all of Grandma's her vintage like crochet patterns and stuff. So yeah. That's that. Oh, I have some other stuff that was in her things. What are you doing?
Do you want me to get her down?
No, she's fine.
Like up on the back of the chair.
Bindi used to do that. My terror French bulldog used to get up on the back of the furniture and look out the window. So we're like going through Grandma's stuff, and these hideous booties, I like locked onto them right away. I'm like, oh my god, those are amazing. They're these little crocheted. Little floor house slippers. And my aunts were like, I think actually my great grandma made these, because my aunts were all like, oh my god, Grandma made those for all of us and they were so uncomfortable and we hated wearing them. My one aunt is like, I threw mine away and all this stuff. And so she's, but I think they're so cool.
I wonder what you get. Yeah,
it looks like they're just like it looks like maybe one big like granny square.
Oh, and then you flip them back and sew
folded.
them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, I don't know. It's so fun. But I grabbed those because and my aunt was like, I'm so glad you took those because we were just going to pitch them. And I'm like, you can't. How could you? Oh, yeah. Especially if it was my great grandma. Those would have been like, yeah, many.
I love these little things.
Yeah, and then Grandma's hankies are here.
How to do the edges.
Like the
yeah.
gosh.
How do you do that?
I
like
don't
this
know.
I can fathom.
Yeah. Even this is like
tiny.
It's so fine, the embroidery. Is. I don't know if she made these or if she bought them, but I'm betting like this one has crochet on the edges. I bet she crocheted the edge of these hankies. Oops. I've collected hankies, vintage hankies, for a long time because they're just so pretty.
Nice. I have some.
And so obviously I had to grab Grandma's hankies.
God, it's so hard to do with that, like tiny.
This one is a map of Florida done in thread. I think they lived in Florida for a while. My mom was born in Florida. See, my favorite are the ones that are just like the pretty florals and whatever. So, yeah.
Adorable. Pleased
to have some of Grandma's treasured things. Now, they will be my treasures. I also, it's over there and it's fragile, so I'm not going to bring it over here, but we also have her wedding quilt that the church ladies stitched together for her when she got married in the 40s. And it's in really bad shape. I guess it's been in her cedar chest for 70 years. So it's like all faded and it's got I don't know if they're like moth holes or what.
It's just like worn.
Yeah.
I don't think it's moth.
So if we keep it, if we want to use it, we'll probably have to have it restored. But it's
really nice.
Yeah. So, sort of bittersweet. Come here.
Your ear's back.
Your ear has become inside out. Whoa. It was nice to see. Well, I was gonna say it was nice to see people at her funeral that I hadn't seen in probably 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, it's so nice to see you," and I'm like, "Yeah, you too," but like, I wish I wasn't. Like, because you're there for a funeral. Like, oh, it sucks, Grandma. Yeah. So I don't know. What else has been going on? What have you been up to, Sarah?
I'm still adjusting to my new job. I hit my 3-month anniversary. Mm-hmm. And then all the our summer programs were due right when I started. So I'm in like a lull with no programs. And now I'm starting to get a little nervous because they all start in June. And so my fall programs do like the first week of June. So it's weird because I have to put in a bunch of stuff not knowing like what worked or what didn't. I just have to like wing it. So, but yeah, I'm nervous but excited because I have a lot of stuff coming up and some stuff will work and some stuff might not.
And you have from what you were telling us, a lot of cool like programs ideas. Like there's going to be a knitting one and I feel very excited about the oh my gosh, we are best friends. The one where you were like making like robots or whatever out of like old shampoo bottles. And
so the anime club, there's I call them kids, but they're like in their 20s and 30s. Yeah. But they started coming to my last job when they were like 18. So in my mind, they're like kids. But yeah, we're going to do, so there's always like a little crew of like artsy kids. So we usually split up. There's like gamer kids and kids who are really into writing and like they kind of like break off a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to do like, I have this whole kind of segment I'm going to do with the artsy kids. And one of them is like, kit bashing. So I bought some robot. There's actually a really good store close to you that has, it's called Hobby Town. And it has like these cool Japanese robot kits, and then you can like break all the pieces apart. And yeah, I did a test one with a shampoo bottle, and then I got toys at whatever Five Below or cut all the plain parts up, and then you just like glue them together to like this thing. So it looks really kind of junky now, but then you take them out and spray paint them, and then you can paint like little like make them look spaceship-y. And then I have another one which is a TikTok thing, which you have a big poster board and you pour like rice out on, like dry rice, and it goes in like a weird shape, and then you take a little black pen and you draw around it, and then you have like a weird continent shape, and then you make like your fantasy map out of it. It's so much fun. So I think we're each gonna build like each month we're gonna build on like a little fantasy world.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm excited about doing it.
So cool.
So I'm hoping if I'm excited, they'll be excited.
Yeah.
So then drawing, I've got we have iPads with pencils that you can reserve. So there's all sorts of like things. If they're into it, we're gonna build on all of that.
Oh, cool.
And then I'm just doing like little one-off craft programs. And then we do culinary programs. So there's 2 or 3 that other staff members are doing. So it's gonna be really fun.
That's so fun. And so this is the Brooklyn branch in Cleveland.
Of Cuyahoga County Public Library. Yep. So, like a little north of Parma, but south of Cleveland. People don't know. But please look at our handouts and feel free to come to any of the programs.
We'll put links for the library in the show notes.
You can sort events by type or by age group or, So.
Nice.
So, lots of that. What about you? You have a new website.
I have a new website. My website is up. Oh my God. It took me 4 full months to build it from scratch. And now it works. Strangely.
You're like, I'm still not quite
believe it. So it's at christineparkerco.com. It's the same web address that I've had, but there's also now kickassflareclub.com. Because Kick-Ass Flare Club is no longer on Patreon. I finished shipping the April flare yesterday, so I never, ever have to mess around with Patreon billing or trying to, like, fight with their shipping. Making shipping labels. And one of my favorite things about this new website is that I can ship the current month's flare the same month that you pay for it. So before, with Patreon, I had to wait until the month was over to like collect all of the billing information for a single month and then like import it into a shipping label printer thing and then, print it that way. But now I can, like, you make an order on my website. If you subscribe in May, I can just ship it to you. Like, I can just print the label and just ship it, just like any regular order. So if you're interested, this month is Banned Books Month. I don't know if that's really what my... Hey.
Oh, girl. Hey. Not in grandma stuff. Come here.
Is there a Banned Books Month? There should be. Let's make it May. So it's the sticker is read more banned books. Sticker. And then the pin. kickassflareclub.com. You can the other thing that's great about this is you can subscribe to just the pin and or sticker, or like if you just want the digital rewards like coupons to my site and like the Discord community and like if you want access to my blog, which I have a blog now, it's separate now. On Patreon, it was all lumped together into one price, but now you can do it separately. So you only have to pay for exactly what you want. And I have a handful of new things on there. There's some new mugs. There's a crochet stitch mug that, it's like a granny stitch pattern that's like rainbow yarn. It's really cute. And then there's some mugs with the Kick-Ass Flare Club logo on there. I have all of the 2022 Kick-Ass Flare Club designs are now uploaded that you can just like buy if you liked any of that stuff from last year. There's a couple different kinds of stitch markers. Like these are the rainbow glitter jelly markers. Sarah's like, gimme.
Bring them to me. Oh my god.
Little stars. I have those.
Look like you could eat them.
I know. Don't they look like candy?
Me too.
And then I also have a set of stitch markers that's like, it's got increases and decreases. So you can mark like where your stitches are in your pattern. And then it also comes with a right side and a wrong side tag. So you can mark the sides of your project, so you never get lost. So that's all on there. I can't think of anything. There's all kinds of new stuff. I can't even like remember all this stuff that's on there. But it's all like real pretty
and it works.
And it works. It's so great. And yeah, that was like, and it's not Etsy and it's not, Square. And so like I can make it do exactly what I want, exactly how I want it to work. And it's just,
and you can just check it off your list and have that little part of your brain just relax.
Yes. Oh, and it's, well, like I like to do like web design and stuff. I've done that since the early days of the internet. And so like, I like to go in there and like tweak this is not like, I want this to be 2 pixels further to the right. So I'll like fiddle with it all the time. But yeah, that was a real project that also like, I mean, I enjoy building it. I'm glad it's done. And, I'm excited to make it easier for all of you to get what you want and get your flair and your stitch markers and all that stuff. So go check it out.
I felt like a bad librarian for not knowing when it's Banned Books Week. It's the last week of September.
Okay. Good to know. The theme for this quarter for Kick-Ass Flair Club is imaginary books. So April was a pretend book entitled 101 Ways to Mind Your Own Fucking Business. And then May is Read More Banned Books. And then for June is, I don't have that yet. It's in production right now, but it's a fake book called The Importance of Becoming Ungovernable, which is a play on, what's that guy's name?
Importance of Being Earnest?
Thank you. Yes. Why can't I remember his name? I want to be like, oh, his name is Ernst.
It's not Oscar Wilde.
Is it Oscar Wilde?
No, I don't think so.
Someone will know.
Sorry.
My brain's tired already.
I do love The Importance of Being Earnest. I've seen that
a few times. Yeah, hilarious. It is hilarious. There's an audio version just at the library with Spike from Buffy.
I was going to listen to that last time.
And it's like 2 hours and it's hilarious. It's so great. So good. So we're in the middle of the One Skein make-along. We have had so much fun seeing your projects on Instagram and Discord that you've been sharing with us. That's so cool. It has been stressing both of us out a lot.
I have projects with lace, with friggin' my Advent brioche, all this, and it's like earlier this week, I'm like, I can't do it. She's like, it's okay.
Yeah. Like, and for some reason, just like this one skein with the deadline is like, it put Sarah over the edge. So I was like, you don't have to. Like, it's okay.
Oh my God, it was so funny. I had 3 or 4 shawls, and then I'm like, I don't have time for a shawl. I'm going to do a hat. But then the one hat I'll show you had 2 skeins because you held 2 together. I'm like, oh. But no, I found a hat. So I'm cast on. And
even if you don't finish it, listen, here's the thing. It's like I was saying, like, we can't win our own giveaway. It's not, it's, I don't know. They don't care.
Oh my gosh.
Well, do you want to share what you cast on?
I'm going to do, I cast on the antler is it toque? I don't know how to say that to you.
I think so.
It's tin can knits, and I love tin can knits. So I figured it has like really like unique kind of cabling up this. Of course I'm doing. That's okay. It's not real exciting right now, but I am using super fine yarn worsted in the color Berry Buckle. Very nice.
That's pretty.
Yep. So I'm just on the ribbing right now, but I have the rest of the day off if I just will relax and not like go do 18 things. So that's the plan for today, is to get up to the other part. And I put the link.
So
you had to overachieve.
I had to also, I'm like, I can't just like make a pattern. I have to design something completely new and fresh. So that's what I did. I was gonna crochet that hat that I was sharing in the last episode. That was so cool with like the vines, but then I don't know. I went off the rails and I picked it. I decided I want to do a cowl, so I picked a stitch. This is it's actually like it's a vintage stitch, crochet stitch. It's the arcade stitch. And it's super easy, and I just cast on a bunch of stitches, and then now I love cowls because you just like go, it's like a blanket. You can just go. So I've been working on this. This is also Super Fine Yarn Co. This is the colorway from the September 2022 Yay. Quincy's Yarn Club. I don't know where here's my hook. It's a nice little hook.
Oh, gotta pass inspection.
Check it out. And it's pretty fast because it's crochet and, so it builds up fast. But then I'm like, why isn't this ball getting any smaller? So we'll see. If I finish, I'll be impressed. And if not, it's not like I was going to win our giveaway anyway. But if you're participating, you have all of May to start and finish. Just all you have to do is use up one skein of yarn. That could be 100 grams of super bulky yarn. That counts. It counts. It's just one skein. We're not...
And you could bring your project to Great Lakes because it's still in May and we could work on them together.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So that's a great idea. Last minute people.
Yep. And then we're giving away a t-shirt. So if you finish your project, share it on Instagram. The hashtag is OneSkeinMal, M-A-L. And then in the next episode, we'll pick a winner to win a t-shirt. Oops. Because usually we give away yarn, but we're like, that's dumb. We're trying to use it up.
One skein to replace the one you just got rid of. Good luck.
I think that's what we did last year. But I think it's funny. All right.
Yes.
What's next?
Of course, doing this, Moon and Yarn, she had the cutest beret that she talked about really loving the pattern. And so when I was panicking about patterns, I'm like, I really want to make this. I had the cutest beret that I didn't make. I just bought. I wore it for years. It was so it was just cute, but it was warm. But you hold it with fingering and Surrey together. It's I have to look at the name in a second. Sorry,
that's
it's glaring. So I had to message her and be like, what was that? Chelsea and Paris. So I might guess that on as well because I can't just do one thing.
Right.
So and this here's the question is I had this, which was Squish It. Olivia and Me that I bought off Yarn Birds, probably at a Yellow Springs wool gathering last year, which was going to go into a Hohi Locatelli, the big X-shaped one, but that hasn't happened. I figure it's nice and it's cushy. I'll do it. So here's the question. I had 2 super fine Surreys, and I can't decide which one to do. So this would make it kind of all pinky and rosy, which is nice, but then this would be nice with more pops of color. I'm kind of leaning this way.
I feel like that's the way I'm leaning as well.
I think this is a little more subdued than I would normally do. But I like this. And then I'll have pops of color from the speckles and pops of color from this. So I think
that looks fun.
So if you see me at Great Lakes struggling with 2 hats, I've done it to myself. And there's no one else to blame. But I think I'm going to go home and put on a show and just take a nap. Plus just get some beverages and chill out with this one.
That sounds nice. Devin is going to... we're recording, it's Mother's Day weekend, and Devin's going to his parents' house. They live in Sandusky, which is an hour and a half from Cleveland. He's like, okay, I'm going to come out there for a day, make a list, stuff that they want him to do. So he like goes and does all their little projects for them. And then it's, and then they start racking it up for the next time he's going to come out there. So, yeah. So I'll be alone.
You going tomorrow or Sunday?
He's going on Saturday. So that's tomorrow. Yeah. So I'll just be alone. I probably will. Let's be honest. I'll probably end up working, but what I should do is sit outside and
it's been gorgeous here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We in the last episode we're like, we're gonna in our next episode we're gonna update you on these projects and show you how much progress we've made. No.
My crochet blanket, same, like maybe like this much more. I'm like, dang it! I'm looking at it on my couch pile this morning, like, you're not coming with me. You don't deserve the trip to show you that I haven't worked on it.
Yeah. That lace, that gray lace shawl that I've been fighting with, the cursed one. I was like, I'm just going to bind it off and I'll and then I'll have a finished object to show next time. I have not touched it. Haven't. And somebody, I think it was Jennifer P, recommended, she's like, take it to Around the Table, our local yarn shop, and she's like, someone can help you perform surgery on it if you want to fix it. So, and I hadn't even thought of that. So that might be something I do. Yeah. But let's be honest, it's probably gonna sit moldering in its project bag for 6 more months before I do anything about it. But that's how that goes. So sorry for not having updates. But
this isn't our full time.
Yeah. You get
it's for fun.
Are you ready for books?
Yes.
Are you? Okay, great. I had such a hard time finding fantasy books because I don't read that much fantasy. So I had a hard time finding stuff that I hadn't talked about. And actually, I'm not even sure I haven't talked about these. So if I doubled up, sorry.
Then you really like them. So.
Yeah,
Sometimes I do that if I'm like looking online and I'll be like, somebody likes this book. And then you hear somebody say it again or a different person. Like, okay, well, this has to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
She has a dark spot here. Is it because her fur is dark or...
I don't know if it's like her skin underneath. I know.
Okay.
Because on this side she does too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. My dog's...
I think her hair's getting like...
It looks almost like it's thin right there. Are you losing your hair?
Girl. She's so white on her face and she's going to be 8. It's like, doesn't seem old to me. My baby.
Phyllis will go... I'll send her outside to go potty, and she takes her time. She takes her sweet time. So we just send her out and, wait, and then she'll jump on the storm door to let us know when she's done. But sometimes she'll come back in the house and she'll have black soot marks all over her. And I'm like, what were you doing? And it's because she's been scratching her back on the exhaust pipe of the rusty PT Cruiser that's rusting in our driveway. So I'm like, well, Devin, this is your job now. You have to clean the soot marks off of our dog.
I think you need a cow scratcher thing. You need to install one of those big brushes.
She just she'll scratch her face on the fence too, and it'll sound like I'm like, oh my god, there's an intruder. Who is coming to my house?
Phyllis is itchy. She likes getting scratched, probably.
She loves a good scratch. Yep. I have a back scratcher, a stick with a hand on it. She loves that. She loves to get back scratched with the back scratcher. I'm getting warm.
Yeah, I took my sweater off.
It's supposed to be 80 today. And then it'll be back in the 50s, on Sunday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hit us with your fantasy
gosh,
books.
This is very difficult to narrow down. So I'm going to do my newest ones first, which are both kind of / romance. But really, really good. This one has a little darkness to it. The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy by Megan Bannen. I love this cover. There's the heart and the spooky hands. And I think this was from Fated Mates. One of them had read it and she was like, oh my gosh. And it is. It's kind of like a mishmash of genres and A little bit dark around the edges, but like a love story too. It's this fantasy world where, God, it's a whole thing. There are like undertakers, and there's like families of undertakers. The dad is ailing. The daughter is like taking over the whole business and has a lot on her shoulders. And then there's these marshals who like there's like these ghouls that come back and are really dangerous and get possessed. And there's marshals who keep the town safe. And they have to like go to the undertakers to like bring these like possessed bodies to like prepare them to bury them. It's a very weird whole world. Well, anyway, like right at the beginning, he shows up at the door. He's like super tall. I think he's half of a god or something. There's so much going on, but it's all really well done. He shows up. He's super tall and of course handsome. She has a big slobbering kind of like Great Danish kind of dog that just loves him. So the like dog is like all over him, and they have this like antagonistic thing, which is just super fun and good banter, and really so many like sweet moments with her and her family. He's kind of like disgruntled employee, got brought into the business by like an older grumpy guy, and sorry guys, come here. Someone had the nerve to walk past me.
So rude of them. I know.
His really good friend is his boss of this department, and she puts him with this really green, like, young kid, like 16, 18, who's just, like, super enthusiastic, like, let's go! And he hates him at first, and guess what? They start to work together. So anyway, just try. It's very different from anything else, but I really enjoyed it.
What's this one called?
The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy, and that's each of their names.
Nice. And who's the author?
Megan Bannen. But yeah, a little dark,
nice.
but little...
That sounds super fun.
It was. I was very impressed.
I have one that has a cover that's like similar style. I can't remember if I talked about this one or not. Yeah. It's the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. And it's like a romance / it's like a historical romance fantasy. There's pirates. There's
flying houses.
There's flying houses
that you can steer.
It's very the quote on the front says that it's delightfully bonkers, and it is. And this is like one of those books where like if you're not in the right mood for something delightfully bonkers, you're gonna hate it. So make sure you're like, okay, I'm in the right headspace for flying houses and pirates and, the hero's name is Ned, which I just think is so funny. So they're like, she's like I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I read it, but she's like a spy, or like she fights crime or something like that. That's like the Wisteria Society, right? And so, her like grandma gets kidnapped by pirates in a house. Like it's the house, they like drive houses. Okay. It's like a ship that can fly. And when I remember reading this book and I'm like, wait, is this really happening? Like, am I really reading this book that the flying houses? Like, come on. And there's, sword play and duels and tight breeches and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's really fun. It's just like fun and silly. And if you need some, like cotton candy type book that isn't very mentally stimulating, then you'll love that. Thank you for protecting our house.
There's that one lady walking down the street. She's gone.
We get so much traffic. There was, I don't think she noticed it and you didn't either, but there was a guy on one of those hoverboard things. Have you seen those? It's like a skateboard, a self-propelled skateboard thing. Like it, yeah. I haven't seen him out. And they go really fast. He goes up and down.
Your loud neighbor hasn't come by yet.
Oh, he will.
I have another fantasy / romance called Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. And this is more dreamy, sweet type fantasy. Somebody said it was Bridgerton meets like Spirited Away or something, or
Oh, okay.
you know, it's kind of something like that. And yeah, the heroine, younger, she gets like something happens with like fairyland or fairies, and she comes out of the experience and she's doesn't have like much like emotion. She's just very detached from life, kind of just floats through, and nothing really like gets to her, and she's a little odd and always has been, has trouble fitting into society. And there's a magician who's in society too, and they meet, things happen, but it's sweet. And more comes up about like her past and what happened to her. I enjoyed it, and it was a very nice meshing of romance and fantasy without being like, oh god, you're explaining too much, or you're not explaining enough, or it was like a unique world. It added to it instead of like, oh god, I gotta read 5 pages about how magic works.
I feel like I think that's why I don't read that much fantasy, because it's like, I feel like it's really hard to do well. And I am I have such limited brain space and like attention span. I'm like, if they use the same word twice on the same page, I'm out. Like, that's, you get one shot. So yeah, I get so like, I'll be like reading fantasy with like magic or whatever, and I'll be like, wait a minute, you can't do that. You can't just make stuff up and just do whatever you want. But like, yes, you can. That's the whole point of fantasy. Done with that one?
Yes.
Okay. So we had talked about doing like subgenres. We decided for this episode we're just going to do like all genres of fantasy, but there's so many different subgenres.
I freaked out and put 10 titles. I'm like, no, we don't need subgenres.
So one of my favorite fantasy subgenres is fairytale retellings. And so if you haven't read any Alix Harrow yet, you should go do that right now, because she's fantastic. Her a Spindle Splintered series they're short. They're like, I guess, novellas. And there's a series of them. I think there are 2 or 3 out now, but it's like a subversive feminist retelling of Sleeping Beauty. A vivid, subversive, and feminist reimagining of Sleeping Beauty. I ripped that right off the cover. And it's like, so the character is like a modern, actually it's set in like the middle of Ohio in like rural, like Mansfield or something.
Mansfield?
I swear it's something like that. If it isn't Mansfield, it's like based on Mansfield, some, little town like that. So she's like, it's her 21st birthday, and her friend she's like obsessed with Sleeping Beauty. So her friend like prepares this elaborate Sleeping Beauty like experience for her in this abandoned tower, in the town, with a what are those called? A spinning wheel. And, she gets to like pretend to prick her finger at midnight or whatever. And it's like this big whole thing. Well, then she goes to prick her finger at midnight and falls through a portal into this fantasy land. And she meets, I think like the real Sleeping Beauty. She like, I don't know if it's Aurora or whatever, but she meets this princess who's in trouble. And so she's got to save the princess. And, it's like and they end up like falling for each other. And like, it's just, I don't know, it's really fun. And Alix Harrow, she's written a couple other books that I've read. There was one about witches, and there was one about, I think it's called The 10,000 Doors of January, which I don't even remember what it's about, but it's something like the doors are portals to other doors.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Her writing is fantastic. So go check that series out. And like I said, they're novellas, so you can just power right through them. I think I found those when I was looking for short books to like bump up my total, for at the end of the year, trying to like get to my 100 books, which I'm not even doing this year. I haven't been counting at all because
it was stressing me out.
Yeah.
I just quit last week.
Same.
I have one I talked about already, but it's one of my favorite books I've read in the past, probably since we started this podcast, which is The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. You probably recognize this cover because it went all over the internet for a while.
That was big on TikTok, wasn't it?
Yeah, very big. And then I found a little thing with like the little character so I can show you too. But there's a group that manages their like supernatural orphanages in this world, and there's this guy, he's worked like at this orphanage, and he's goes out and he inspects them and makes sure they're up to standard, and he's like kind of bored with his life, and he like goes home and it's the same routine and is really lonely, and gets sent out to this remote one that they think is being mismanaged by this guy, and shows up there, and of course, like from the second he gets there, like all of the kids are like super characters. So there is he's kind of like a slug, but he's just like a pile of goop kind of. It's Chauncey. So funny. There's like a fairy. The other one that's really good, and these are kind of blurry, is there's a garden gnome. It sounds really funny. There's a bunch, like kind of you would expect. There's a little dragony type thing. One of them is the Antichrist.
I read this book, but I don't remember any of this.
I mean, it is, well, and then the guy that runs it is very eccentric, but he's also focused on like what each of these kids, they each have something they're either missing or they're working toward, or like dreams or like healing things from the past. And he's so good at like doing, it's unconventional, doing what each of these kids needs to heal. Aww. And the guy sees this, but his superiors don't, and it's like, oh, it's so good. So anyway, I recommend that to anybody.
I swear I read that, and none of it sounds familiar
He has
at all.
a lot of books.
I feel like
it could be one of his other books.
Maybe.
Too. Yeah.
I feel like I would remember a pile of goo.
Yeah.
And the Antichrist.
The Antichrist, you're like, oh, this I wasn't expecting.
I lost my crochet hook in the couch somewhere.
Uh-oh.
Story. I have one more.
Okay, sorry.
Have you read this?
No.
Oh my god.
I read the other Last Man. Why the Last Man?
I don't think I've read that one. Well, anyway. Saga, you guys, by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. She's the illustrator, he's the writer. This series is so fucking good. If I'm a person who is like, oh, I don't read, like, I'm not a comic book reader, like, I don't read comics. And then I had to read this book I took a class. One of my English elective credits was on graphic novels. And we had to read this. It is so good. It is so good. It's so good.
Is it so good?
It's so good. So it starts out, these two characters, they're like on two opposite sides of these warring factions battling for, control of the universe or whatever. And they're both soldiers, and they meet and they fall in love and they have a baby, and she's like giving birth on the first page. And so then the rest of the story is like about their, the building of their relationship and how are they going to manage this like war-torn, these war-torn worlds. And they're like raising a family, like they're raising this little girl. It is hilarious. It is, it has swear words. There's nudity. I mean, it's all illustrated. There's a cat that talks. I think the cat's name is like Judgment Cat, and so the cat, like, he's like always judging his master. Like, his master will ask him for advice, and the cat will be like, really? The art is phenomenal. It's so good. Like, you could just like, even if you don't read it, you can just flip through and like look at the art because it's so gorgeous. It's like, it's really funny. It's fast because it's, if you've never read a graphic novel, like, you don't have all of the words that are like describing the pictures, you know, what you would see in your head, because there's just pictures, it's illustration, so you're just reading the dialogue. And it's just like a really interesting, it's like a totally different reading experience. And there's like 35 issues of Saga out now, and they keep making more. They took a break, I think, during the pandemic to do like other projects, but they're back, they're making it again, and it's just fantastic. So as a non-comic reader, you should read this comic. I mean, come on.
So cool.
It's so good.
And honorable mention to my favorite children's story, which we talked about on our children's episode, which is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline, which is my all-time favorite book of all time. and then I kind of snuck in the notes, like, I also have then I'm like, I didn't talk about any like super bloody, like war-torn fantasy, so I have some of those too, so just send me a message.
What would that genre be?
I don't know, but I have a few of them that I read that are like really good and epic. I'm terrible at this fantasy, for like fantasy subgenres. There has to be a name for it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I have a few that
I don't know
like
if it is like dark fantasy, maybe.
Violent, yeah. Boy, yeah, there's some where I was like, ooh, that was a lot, but it was like worth it.
Or like urban fantasy is a thing, if it's like in a city. Mm-hmm. There's like the Fave fantasy. There's high fantasy, which is like, that would be like Lord of the Rings.
There's the whole world. Low would be more similar things to our world.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, well, if there's a specific subgenre that you'd like us to tackle, let us know.
Or tell us what else we should be reading.
Ooh, yes, we love your book racks.
My to read in Libby right now is at 300. Around 300.
Oh, mine's at like 1,500.
I thought I'm like being impressive. Nope.
Because I just add and add and add. And so like on Libby, I have, I had to start dividing them. Like I divided up, I have shelves for like,
oh, that's nice,
Kindle books and then audiobooks. Well, now there's like 600 books on each. So I'm like, well, maybe I should like make tags for specific moods and genres.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were gonna say. Well, and I've almost given up on romance on audio. So I pretty much always read romance, and I pretty much always do mystery, sci-fi, sometimes fantasy on audio, because I cannot stand romance on audio, except for one exception, which was by Scarlett Peckham, which I love the narrator, but it's very, very difficult to get right.
A good narrator. I started reading, well, I've barely been reading at all, because I keep, like, instead of reading, I have been fooling around on my phone before bed, you know, like scrolling and chatting and whatever. So I've basically given up on reading, but before that happened, I started reading Persuasion by Jane Austen, which I'd listened to the audiobook before, which was great. So I decided to start reading it. And then a couple months ago, I like went through and binged all of the different adaptations.
I did that too.
Yeah, it was really fun. Which one's your favorite?
The one with Ciarán Hinds, the dark-haired one.
The original. Interesting.
He is like,
he's very
100% my type of everything.
He's good. I like the 2007 one.
Is that Sally Hawkins?
With Sally Hawkins, yeah. But I don't like the
dude,
Captain Wentworth. He looks like he should be in a boy band.
He's real pale and pretty.
And blonde. He's he's got like the spiky 2007 hair, and I'm like, that's not
a thing.
It wouldn't have been his hair in 1818 or whenever it was.
I love comparing all those. It's like comparing the Emmas or the Little Women.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I like this, but I don't like this. Or the Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
Which I'm of an age where 1990s one is like epic and wonderful, and I see good things about the other one too, but it's not going to be my.
You always have your favorite, even if you enjoy all of them. You always
enjoy all of them, but I watched that one with my mom a lot.
Aw, I think I was forced to watch it in like an English class or whatever in high school, and so I'm like, I have bad vibes.
Yeah, well, I can see that.
Yeah. Until, that would have been a time where I'm like, oh, I hate reading. I'm a very cool teenager. And then, come to realize that I'm like actually a big book nerd as an adult. Well, that is how that happens, I guess. Anything else? Should go sleepy night now. I'm really tired. Oh, you're so tired.
Sniffing everything in your house. Yeah, took a lot out of you.
Anything else?
No, thanks for having us over.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome anytime. Ripley, not Sarah. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so next episode we're gonna draw. It'll be the Great Lakes recap. So we'll talk about the fiber show. So make sure you come down and hang out with us in Worcester on Saturday, May 27th. We will be there. We don't know what time yet. But
if you're walking around and can't find us, message us on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll post. We'll be in our Instagram stories.
I'm assuming we'll be kind of around where the food trucks are, but they're not always in the same spot. And last year there was like one near the back and one near the front. So yeah, we'll figure out a place.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's a bunch of places to hide.
There's not.
All right, great. Well, cool. Thanks for hanging out.
Yay.
Show us your one skein Megalong projects, and we will see you in 3 weeks. Bye.
Bye.